Thank you for joining us this Friday, the 7th of November. I'm Sophia, market analyst with Bell Direct. This is your weekly market update. Well, while global policy uncertainty continues to generate volatility, the domestic economy remains resilient, relatively shielded from the worst impacts of global trade headwinds. This month, we've seen some risk and reward. The market is punishing companies that miss earnings expectations, underscoring the importance of high-quality stock picks. As we look back on the month of November, the global and domestic economic headwinds included US policy and some geopolitical developments. The US Fed delivered its second consecutive 25 basis point rate cut in October, setting the benchmark to 3.75 to 4% range, largely anticipated due to the cooling labour market. However, the Fed chair adopted a cautious tone, warning that a December cut is not a foregone conclusion, given persistent economic uncertainty and sticky inflation. Now, over the last month, we saw two significant shifts in the geopolitical landscape. Tensions in the Middle East continue to ease, which has reduced recent oil price volatility and mitigated a key global inflation concern. Plus, a recent trade discussion between US and China presidents was seen as a move to stabilize US and China relations, although the underlying rhetoric regarding tariffs that remains unchanged. Now, locally, domestic data and commentary from the RBA in October have shifted market expectations. The governor noted that while the labour market is cooling, it remains a little tight, and recent inflation data was higher than expected. And the hawkish tilt for interest rates extinguished hopes of another RBA rate cut this year, with the market now pushing expectations for further easing out to 2026. Now, this suggests that the RBA is just waiting and watching, assessing the full impact of the previous cuts. Local markets reflected this uncertainty, the ASX 200 experiencing a volatile month. The index rallied to fresh new highs mid-month, but faced sharp pullbacks, ultimately closing October with a modest gain. Now, the market's performance was weighed down by significant stock-specific shocks within several large cap companies. Meanwhile, small caps entered the month with strong momentum, having significantly outperformed large caps in the third quarter. Despite the risk-off volatility, this segment continues to underscore Bell Potter's preferences. And as for the key risks to watch, well, they're seeing elevated valuations in global markets and some potential for a stagflationary environment in the US, and that presents a near-term headwind for global and domestic equities. So consider growth companies that have relatively defensive earnings. Plus, there is also the risk of the Chinese stimulus likely to act as a potential tailwind for the resources sector. Therefore, October was a big month in markets. As for the first trading week of November, the ASX 200 has declined 0.64% this week so far, with consumer discretionary, real estate and utilities weighing down on the market the most, while financials and energy are in the lead. On the ASX 200 leaderboard, the best performing stock is Emerald Resources, as energy gains over 1%, while the James Hardie Industries dropped over 21% this week, following increased trading volume that prompted an ASX inquiry into undisclosed information. On the All Ords, in the lead was gold and silver producer Kingsgate Consolidated this week, closely followed by Core Lithium, while the worst performing stock was Polymetals Resources. And the most traded stocks by Bell Direct clients included Wagner's Holdings Company ahead of their AGM this week, Bannerman Energy after announcing a change in directors' interest involving share sales for tax liabilities, and BHP Group. Clients also bought into CSL and WiseTech, while they took profits from Northern Star Resources, Pilbara Minerals, CommBank, Lynas Rare Earths and NAB. The most traded ETFs by Bell Direct clients were the BetaShares Australian High Interest Cash ETF, the Vanguard Australian Shares ETF, and the BetaShares Nasdaq 100 ETF. And to end on some to end on economic news items to watch out for next week. While building permit data will be released on Monday, on Tuesday we'll receive Westpac's consumer confidence data for November and NAB's business confidence data for October. And on Thursday, the unemployment data for October will be released. Now, the unemployment rate is expected to fall to 4.4%. So keep watch of that next week. And that's all for this week. I'm Sophia Mavridis with Bell Direct. Have a good Friday, and we'll see you next week.